Right. Got it. You said we do? Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming this evening. I would ask that you all please rise after I just told you to take your seat for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, if you could call the roll members this evening.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Ballantyne.
Here.
Ms. Gregg.
Here.
Ms. Diaz.
Here.
Mr. Grappera. Mr. Smith-Waddell. Mr. Soto.
Here.
And President Reichenbach.
Here. Councilors Smith, Waddell, and Grappera are excused for this evening. Approval of the minutes for the November 12th, 2019 meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Council comments? From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Ballantyne.
Aye.
Ms. Gregg.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Reichenbach.
Aye. I've been told that we don't have any proclamations, honors, awards, and resolution of recognition for this month, but we will certainly get back to that in December. We'll move into the first public comment period that's reserved for citizens who've contacted the city clerk prior to the meeting to request the opportunity to address city council. I would ask that you limit the duration of your comments to 3 minutes. Mr. Harris, do we have anyone who called ahead?
Yes, we do, Mr. President. We have Desiree Cole.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hello.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Hello, my name is Desiree Cole, and I'd like to address council.
If you
With
could
the
just share
letter.
your street, sorry, not your address, but just the street you live on.
Pardon?
If you could just share the street you live on. No, you don't need the address.
Desiree Cole, Stevens Avenue.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt.
This is a forwarded letter I sent to everyone. It's to whom all matters addressed, please refer and review my public comment address. To all address, in 2019, I have sought to legalize my company, Collection Plates Incorporated, and writings in the business industry and trade of ministry. The legal processing of establishing my company and expanding my business has led me to 120 North Duke Street, Lancaster, PA 17602. In this process, I was referred to City Council and the mayor to address my concerns, incident of October 29, 2019 in City Hall, and issues in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. On November 5th, 2019, I sent all addressed and forwarded email of Collection Plates Incorporated presentation and attachment titled Vice President Pence. These documentations document my quest to seek help for justice, advocacy, and ministry in poverty and with prejudice and persecutions against me. For example, 1, to expand my business, I sought for a new home office at 532 Persian Avenue, Lancaster, PA 17602. My findings originally led me to seek a meeting with the mayor to discuss SACA, Spanish American Civic Association. 2, to establish my company, I needed to seek a meeting with the mayor to discuss encounters with Chief of Staff Jess King. 3, to exercise my steps, I stand upon my letter addressed to former President of USA, Barack Obama, concerning the rape of my great aunt, Betty M. Cole. I also stand up for my Act 126 report concerning the bedding of school children at Manheim Township High School in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And I also stand by faith for repass and reconciliation with the NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and the church. On November 12, 2019, I attended City Council meeting for the first time. The demeanor and tune of City Council and officials was unwelcoming and disturbing. The meeting was basically about honoring a neighbor from my old neighborhood, Mr. Barney Ewell. He was a man who experienced great adversity and was an example of excellence in achievements. It was sad to see the lack of respect and reverence that was not given to him or his name. These were the very things he longed for the most. As a citizen, resident, and constituent of Lancaster, Pennsylvania 17602, I am disappointed and offended by the services and servants of all parties. As a business person and owner, I am dissatisfied and leery of doing business in this city and state. And as a human being, I am displeased and horrified by the lack of charity and care by all. I request to address and resolve issues and an understanding of service to be agreed upon accordingly. Please let me know as soon as possible to do so, and I thank you for your efforts sincerely.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. That's my,
Did you have any questions for us at all, or?
at the end of my statement, I request the address and resolve the issues and an understanding of service.
Okay. I'm assuming that the mayor's office has been in contact with this conversation. Okay. If you'd like to, again, forward your information to our city clerk, Bernie Harris, we can certainly take a look at it. And if there are things that we can come to a resolution on, we'll certainly work to help you with that.
Sorry, forward it to who?
Mr. Harris, he can give you his information right down there at the end. Yep, he'll take care of it
It's
for
been
you.
forwarded to everyone on council.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'll just
You're
include him on it.
Terrific.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Harris, has anyone else called ahead this evening?
No, they have not, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll move right into reports requested by council, and this will be the mayor's annual budget address. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Reichenbach. Good evening, members of City Council and the public. Tonight, I present for your review and consideration the proposed budget for 2020. I'm pleased to report that due to overall efficiencies and solid management, along with consistent engagement and support among our 3 bargaining units, we have been able to keep the increase in the general fund budget below the historic average of 3% at 2.89%. And because the general fund reserves are ending in a strong place this year, there will be no property tax increases for 2020. This is good news, and it is temporary. It buys us 12 more months to work at addressing Lancaster's structural deficit, again through a combination of reducing expenses and increasing revenues. The structural deficit has led to raising property taxes 8 out of the last 14 years, but not this year. We are taking another look under the hood, so to speak, at our expenses with the help of PFM, a financial and management advisory consulting firm. The cost of their work is being split between the city and DCED. This year's budget reflects a one-time cost of $62,000 to support this effort. We are eager for their analysis and for continued ways that we can work more efficiently and effectively. We are also seeking changes to how the city generates revenue. The only significant revenue source that pays for police, fire, streets, parks, and more are property taxes, which are annually set by City Council. The other 3 revenue sources are controlled by the state. So I've been going to Harrisburg to advocate for common sense reform that would provide cities like Lancaster with the tools we need to provide critical core services, most especially public safety. In the meantime, we'll continue to advance our strategic priorities of strong neighborhoods, safe streets, secure income, and sound government. These priorities are key to building a stronger and more equitable Lancaster block by block. In the 2020 general fund budget, you'll see a lot of the same, with a few additions that align with our strategic priorities, including 1, the first ever dedicated funding to support language access to improve service delivery for our residents who do not speak English. We are the most diverse community in Lancaster County, perhaps in the region, with some 50 languages spoken in our school district alone. 2, continued investments in public safety training. Both our police and fire departments consistently exceed the minimum requirements for training, and 2020 will be no different. We will also be rolling out the first citywide staff orientation program to ensure that every new employee knows and understands our core values to both continue to build an internal culture of teamwork, quality, integrity, and respect, and to convey the same to our residents. 3, a utility assistance program in partnership with the Community Action Partnership that aims to reduce the number of water shutoffs and subsequent condemnations and displacement of residents in our neighborhoods. 4, a reorganization of the Department of Community Planning and Economic Development that will reorient our housing, lead elimination, and health efforts under a new Bureau of Health and Property Maintenance. 5, losing track tonight. 5, data. We've rolled out open data in the past year and will expand on our use of data and technology in 2020 with a 311 system to more effectively and efficiently manage and track resident concerns and provide valuable data to the city about how to most effectively allocate staff and financial resources. You'll be hearing a lot more about data in the year ahead. 6, the first of a 5-year investment to replace our failing police radios, which are the only means our officers have to communicate with dispatch. And finally, number 7, the first year of debt service payments that will support Culleton Park renovations, handicap accessible ramps, completion of the Christian Street Bike Boulevard, street paving, to name but a few, in 2020. Turning now to our enterprise funds. Even with the rigorous work necessary to comply with the EPA consent decree by our stormwater team, we will see no stormwater fund rate increase in 2020. However, in the sewer fund, that same mandated EPA compliance and planning will lead to a rate increase of $28.50 per quarter for the average residential customer. This increase keeps the city in the bottom half of Lancaster County sewer rates while providing critical revenue to manage our sewer system. After filing with the Public Utility Commission for an outside city rate increase in July 2019, we are close to finalizing a rate increase that would take effect during the first quarter of 2020, again for outside city residents. As well, the average water customer in the city will see a rate increase of $17.70 per quarter, the first increase in 4 years. This rate also keeps the city in the bottom half of Lancaster County water rates while supporting ongoing capital investments in our water system like the large diameter redundant main, ensuring public water quality and reliability. We will also be pursuing a rate increase for outside city customers with the PUC during the coming year. And within these rate increases, there's also an opportunity for cost savings to city residents, unlike property taxes. The average residential customer uses 12,000 gallons of water per quarter. Residents can save water by fixing leaks. The average leak is more than 10 gallons a day or 15 gallons per day with a low-flow shower head. These 2 fixes alone could save the average customer more than 2,000 gallons of water and cut the impact of these rate increases by 60%. Lastly, the Solid Waste and Recycling Fund will see a rate increase of $5 per quarter for all customers. This is directly tied to continued volatility of the global recycling market and resulting increase in the amount of waste that's being sent to our Lancaster County Waste-to-Energy facility. This rate increase is only the third since the city's single hauler system was created nearly 14 years ago in 2006, and the city's rate remains one of the lowest in the region. This is my 6th budget, 4 on council, 2 as mayor. They don't get easier. While we have seen over $500 million in private investment in the city since 2015, it is not translating into increased revenues. There are a lot of reasons for this: declining state and federal aid, rising pension costs, more non-taxable properties per square mile than anywhere else in the county, and an obsolete system of financing local essential mandated services. Basically, the city of Lancaster retains but a fraction of the economic output that we produce. While our neighbors in Lancaster County have been able to hold the line on property taxes through development and little to no expense relative to public safety, this is not our reality. For my administration, this budget is a call to action to operate as efficiently as possible and work tirelessly to fix our broken tax structure. We look forward to working with you, members of City Council, and elected officials in Harrisburg, as well as the public in the year ahead, to take on these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We will be having our budget meeting coming up next week, right? And we'll have more details about the schedule and what that looks like soon.
Yes, so Monday will be our regular committee meeting, and there will be quite a number of things that Patrick will be presenting there, as well as his introduction that will go through each of these changes that I'm presenting in more detail, followed by a full budget session on Saturday, December the 7th, beginning at 10 a.m., in which each of the department directors will present to City Council their budgets for 2020, as well as significant accomplishments over the last year.
Terrific, and open to the public,
Yes.
as it should be. Terrific. Thank you, Mayor. We will move on to interim reports of committees of council. Mr. Harris, do we have any this evening?
We do not, Mr. President.
Thank you. Let's move right into the legislative agenda. Heritage Conservation District, consider the following applications and recommendations from the Historical Commission for improvements to properties within the Heritage Conservation District. I'm going to guess that we'll be okay with taking all three of these together, but if there's one that anyone wants to pull out, they certainly can. But if not, Mr. Harris, if you could go forward.
Yes, Mr. President. We have three this evening. Paul and Denise Charbonnet, owner of 247 East Clay Street, proposes enlargement of an existing brick garage through construction of a third story. And Jake Bullock, owner of 305 North Lime Street, proposes reconstruction of an altered front entry porch. And last, we have Norma Bonilla, owner of 526 Terrace Road, proposes construction of a new partial facade front porch. And these applications were all recommended for approval by the Historical Commission.
Motion to approve all recommendation as a whole?
Second.
Motion and a second. Council comments from the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Ballantyne.
Aye.
Ms. Craig.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Reichenbach.
Aye. Move right into the ordinances for final passage this evening. These will be bills that will be voted on. Start with Administration Bill Number 16, 2019.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lancaster, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, establishing appropriations for $600,000 of property sale proceeds received in 2019, providing for the repeal of inconsistent ordinances, providing for the severability of the ordinance, and providing that the ordinance shall take effect as provided by Pennsylvania law.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Councilor Ballantyne.
Thank you, Mr. President. This was presented as a first reading during our November 12th regular meeting. Upon approval, this bill will appropriate, as it was mentioned, $600,000 in unbudgeted funds to renovate the former water transmission and distribution building on Beaver Street into a storage facility. The funds are payments from Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology for the Chesapeake Street property where the Griner campus is now located and being allocated to the new project in the Capital Improvement Bond Fund. The Beaver Street building will house items now stored in the Fairview Avenue Streets garage. Any questions from council or from the public?
No. Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Ballantyne.
Aye.
Ms. Craig.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Reichenbach.
Aye. We're going to move on to ordinances for first reading. The next two ordinances will be first readings and not need to be motioned and voted on this evening. Start first with Administration Bill Number 17, 2019.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Lancaster, County of Lancaster, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, appropriating the specific sums estimated to be required for the specific purposes of the city government, hereinafter set forth during the year 2020, allowing for a severance provision, providing for the repeal of inconsistent ordinances, and providing for an effective date.
Councilor Ballantyne.
Thank you. I don't really have much else to add other than what was read.
Yeah. I guess the mayor said it all. We're going to be talking about it at our committee meeting and then at our budget meeting, and there will be plenty of time, and also the next council meeting after that. So 3 public meetings to have conversation. Thank you, Councilor Ballantyne. We will move to Administration Bill Number 18, 2019.
An ordinance amending the Code of the City of Lancaster, Chapter 270, Taxation, Article 4, Property and Residence Tax, Section 270.26, Levy and Rate, by fixing a tax rate at blank mills on property in the City of Lancaster, general revenue purposes, allowing for a severance provision, providing for the repeal of inconsistent ordinances, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. As the mayor just stated, in her address related to the city real estate tax rate, that there won't be an increase this year, but we will be speaking about that, and I promise by the time it comes from a vote, it won't say blank. So we will have a number that you will be able
you,
to
Mr.
trust when we get there. Do you have anything else to add, Councilor Valentine?
No, thank you, Mr. President.
Terrific. Okay, let's move into resolutions that will be voted on this evening. Administration Resolution Number 65, 2019.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster approving an amended capital project list to be funded by the proceeds of the City of Lancaster General Obligation Bonds, Series of 2018.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. This is a repetitive thing. Councilor Valentine.
Thank you, Mr. President. So again, with the 2018 Capital Improvement Plan, that's basically pertaining to the Cullington Park improvements, as discussed during our committee meeting. This resolution allows for an amendment allocating an additional $785,000 along with other funds to park improvements. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions from the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Ballantyne.
Aye.
Ms. Craig.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Reichenbach.
Aye. We'll move into our second public comment period of the evening. This is open for comments about issues or concerns that were not on tonight's agenda. Again, I would ask that you limit the duration of your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anybody this evening that would like to speak to council? Mr. Brown. We'll get to you next, sir. Thank you.
Ain't too long. Oh, my name's Terry Brown. I'm on West Chestnut Street. It's to the mayor. Now, I walk up down street. A lot of homeless people say they're not allowed inside of Bings Park. Is there a reason why? Huh? No, okay. I know about that well and hard. Yeah, but they're saying because they had the thing, they say they're not going. I say that's a free park for anybody to go in.
That's correct.
That's a free park, but whoever told you that they're telling you a lie.
It is possible.
Okay, that's all. Go
Sure.
ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Sir. Good evening.
I have two issues.
Sure. If you could just share your name and your street.
I live at 141 High Lane, Lancaster. My first question,
sorry, your name?
Huh?
Your name.
My name's Alvin Cole,
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sorry to interrupt.
and I've been out there almost 25 years. I came to City Hall last year to ask them about fixing my street. They said they were going to send somebody out, and they never got back with me. I've been there 25 years. Like I told the mayor, you got the alleyways look better than my street. And I've been paying a lot of taxes, and I can't get my street fixed. It was so bad, grass was growing in the cracks. And I live in a nice neighborhood. And then second is, I can't understand how you go and charge me for water runoff that God has. And I haven't seen no litigation or sent any information on the guidelines how I'm going to be charged. And to me, that is a disgrace. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else this evening? Hearing none. Mayor, do you have a report on top of the budget report this evening?
No,
Okay.
that was enough.
That was enough. All right, report of the president of the council. I'll just say two things. One, the mayor is lighting a Christmas tree Friday night. It's a fun time. Come on down. Come on, come on. It'll be a good time. There'll be music. And I'd also encourage people who are going to be shopping on Friday. There's a lot of stores downtown, a lot of great stores. Spend your money downtown. Not saying you can't spend it online, but come downtown as well. There's a lot of things that are going to be open. With that, do we have council comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you for coming out this evening, everybody. Mr. Brown.